Hey everybody, it's Zach with the Mighty Electron, and I wanted to get your opinion on something. And here's the cut to the chase question. Is there room in the power sports industry for Volcon? Now, a little background in case you haven't heard of Volcon. They're a startup company, and their first product is an electric fat tire motorcycle, off-road motorcycle. Okay, now let me clarify something. When I say product, I mean something that's legitimately for sale to the public. I don't mean something that the marketing team has like CG'd up as some UTV on some mountain road or anything like that, or some, well, we expect that it'll be this 0 to 60 and it'll last 100 hours and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not talking about like the gold-plated prototype edition that goes to the founder or his cousin or anything like that. I'm talking about something that a regular Joe Schmo like me or you can plop down our money and buy it. Even if there's a waiting list. That's fine if there's a waiting list, but it's got to be legitimately for sale. So, by the way, when you use those criteria, the number of people operating in the EV Powersports industry gets significantly smaller. So Volcon, again, they have a product that's out there that you and I can buy. It's a fat tire motorcycle. They're selling it for, I believe, $6,000. And it's got some pretty impressive specs for the $6,000 mark. I think top speed, they're saying, again, real world is around 50 miles an hour. Range, depending on temperature, because, again, batteries are so susceptible to temperature still. And especially on the power sports, on the $6,000 power sports world, you're not going to have heat pumps and things like that. So you're just going to be a little susceptible to temperature. So in the cooler temperatures, 40 degrees, they're looking at about 4 hours of run time. In warmer temperatures, they're expecting, I mean, again, we don't know yet, but they're expecting probably closer to 7 hours. So again, pretty good specs. Well, who else is playing in this space? Really? When you look at big names, you've got Polaris. That's it. Polaris has their Ranger EV for sale, which, as you may or may not know, Ranger is kind of their workhorse. Really, though, when you look at the specs of the EV Ranger, first of all, they're selling it for $13,700, which is kind of expensive, and the EV Ranger is really just kind of a supercharged golf cart, in my humble opinion. But then Polaris also has the Ranger XP Kinetic, and that's the upgraded one. That one actually runs on a lithium-ion battery. The Ranger EV is still just a lead battery. So the Kinetic, though, it sells for $25,000. $25,000 for that bad boy. And by the way, it's in the Ranger family. It's not their sport, go play in the sand side by side. They're touted as a work machine, hunting machine, that type of thing. Still, $25,000, that's a lot of money. Now, when you flip back to the Volcon and what's available, it's a fat tire motorcycle, right? So you're not doing 40-foot heel kickers in the sand dunes on this thing. They tout it as a hunting machine, as a utility machine, but also something that you can have fun with on the trails. Getting back to the original question, is there room for Volcon in the EV power sports arena? Especially when they're playing against Polaris. Oh, one thing about Polaris is they've just signed like a 10-year deal or something. Don't quote me on that, 10 years. I don't know if that's true. They just signed a long-term deal with Zero Motors to kind of do some business with them together. So we're potentially looking at snowmobiles, potentially looking at using Zero's technology for side-by-sides and different power sports and things like that. So with that knowledge, what does this mean for Volcon? Here's what I think. Absolutely, yes, there is room for Volcon in the industry for two reasons. Number one, from what I've seen and read, Volcon seems like an awesome company. It seems like they take care of their people. They've got a pretty good product. Now, granted, we're still getting into real world tests, so we'll see how that holds up. But it seems like they've got a well-built product, and it's being received well. So that's number one. But number two, the EV power sports industry, especially when you get into like the sport machines, is still very underdeveloped, extremely underdeveloped. And so, yeah, there's a ton of room for anybody right now who wants to get into it. And yes, there are definitely boutique manufacturers out there. Some would probably call Volcon a boutique still, but I don't know, maybe they just have great marketing, but it seems like they've kind of reached that next level of, hey, look, we're not just selling like 3 or 4 units a year here. We're in this industry to make it last. So, in my opinion, I think the future looks great for Volcon. And I think the future looks great for EV Powersports. I mean, people are starting to realize, hey, these machines are fantastic. And listen, there are still obstacles to overcome, right? I mean, if you're the type of person who goes on a 3-week hunting trip in the backwoods and you're every once in a while going in to fill up your 50-gallon drum of fuel, okay, EV's probably not for you yet, unless you want to pack around like 300 square yards of solar panels. But it's coming. We will overcome those obstacles. That's no problem. And I think it's going to be companies like Volcon, like Zero, like Polaris, like maybe some of these other ones. Honda and Yamaha are still zero movement in the EV world, which just floors me. I think they're going to miss the ball here, or at least certainly be behind. So it's going to be companies like Volcon, like Polaris, like Zero, who are leading the pack. So Volcon, I hope you go to town. I hope that you sell 1 million a year, and I'm excited for you. All right, guys. Hey, if you think I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. If you think that I forgot about a manufacturer, then please put it in the comments and let me know what you think. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next video.